You are listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast brought to you by Birmingham Live. Hello, welcome back to the Claret and Blue podcast. My name's Dan Rowlands and I'm joined from a different location with the fairy lights back in town, Matt Kendrick. Matt, how's things?
I'm all right, mate. I just walked through the door, so I'm a little bit, I don't know what I am, just as ill-prepared as ever, I suppose. But, yeah, it keeps going on, doesn't it? The success story keeps rolling.
Yeah, the Emery train rolls into town once again, and it's 10 unbeaten now, 5 consecutive home wins. There's a period where we're all talking about, we need to sort our home form. Well, tick, he's done that as well. 5 clean sheets at home, which, again, that seems like a crazy stat, really. I think it's the first time we've won 5 home games since about 1993. There's been loads of good stats like floating around this evening after tonight's win. The only team in Premier League history to score in the first 20 games of a manager's first 20 games. So yeah, just really a feel good factor about the whole thing at the moment. And despite the performance tonight not being the most convincing ever, it's another 3 points. We're 5th in the league, and we'll talk about all that this evening. We are going to say a strict kind of half an hour cut off tonight because it's 11 o'clock. It's Tuesday. We've both got work in the morning. You've got family asleep. I've got family asleep. I've got a baby asleep. So we'll keep it short. We'll keep it brief. I wasn't there tonight. You were. First thing I want to just get into very quickly: atmosphere. What did you think?
I thought it was decent. I thought what's been introduced or reintroduced lately is just throwing in occasional player chants. You know, I've said it before, haven't we? Keep it simple. You know, make it one sentence so that everyone can read the words or can remember the words and understand the words. So, you know, obviously Tyrone Mings got a little bit of love with his chant, Ashley Young, when he got taken off towards the end. John McGinn. I thought it was a night for the left footers, actually. I thought Mings, McGinn. Well, the left-footed M's, Mings, McGinn, Moreno again. It was just this Emery team just finds new ways. Not new ways, but finds ways to win. You know, Fulham had a little hurrah, probably. You know, you watched it, didn't you?
I did watch it. Yeah.
Between, you know, from 70 minutes for 10 or 15 minutes, but never really, you know, I don't think we other than the one when they stuck the ball in the net and the linesman took an absolute age to rule it off. I thought it was a controlled performance, even with Villa players putting 6 and 7s out of 10 rather than the 8s or 9s that we saw last time at Villa Park. Yeah,
I think the way the game started, I think it was Pereira going for the acrobatic kick 20 seconds in or something. I was thinking, oh Christ, what are we in for this evening? What's this going to be? Is this the end of the run? Apart from that, though, like you said, the offside goal, which was clearly offside, they offered absolutely nothing and looked happy to lose 1-0. You know, we scored after 20 odd minutes, and you thought, well, that's it, that's game over. Fulham aren't going to offer anything after that. I think if Mitrovic is still playing, you still think, well, there's a threat there, there's a presence. Don't feel like they've got that with Dan James kind of floating about up front. Is a totally different prospect. Villa, I've seen a few comments just before you joined. People kind of, the stream was ready to go and the people getting involved already, saying it's kind of a game of 2 halves and that kind of thing, and the kind of style over substance, which we'll talk about in a sec. First off, we didn't have to get out of second gear. Is how I saw it, or first gear. Went through the motions and controlled it. Got our goal from set piece. The goal came off 2 or 3 corners in a row, and after that, we didn't have to do anything. People are kind of going, oh, we look tired, we look sloppy, blah, 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 in the second half, and how we kind of fell away. And there's maybe concerns there that we've kind of got to the peak of, right, we've got 10 games unbeaten now. It's Man United up next, and we look like we're coming down from a good run. I see that as job's done at half time. We don't really have to do anything in the second half. I don't feel anything. If Fulham score early on, of course, I think we kind of go up the gear a little bit then. But because there's no threat from Fulham really, Villa didn't have to do anything else in the second half apart from see the game out, win, and move on.
Yeah, it's going to be. We're still asking the same players to go back and do it most weeks, to be honest. So there's going to be a fall off.
Easy in the second half, then.
Well, there is going to be a fall off in intensity, but the fact that we can contend with that and we can cope with that, and even when these games where we, you know, not as lively and the tempo is not as high, we can still manage the games out. He's a massive string to the bow, and don't want to hark back too much about what came before Emery, but you remember that when we played them away compared to that game tonight, and we've said it before, there's only been slight tweaks in terms of personnel, but in terms of philosophy, in terms of confidence, and in terms of Villa not only being able to win football matches, but being able to win football matches on their terms, it's remarkable. And Fulham looked, Fulham as well. Okay, they're not the Newcastle team that came, a fortnight ago or whatever, and they're challenging at the real top end of the table. But they're a team that's been tucked away fairly comfortably mid-table for a lot of the season, and we made them look really average, just by, like you said, doing enough, stamping our mark. And you're exactly right. That corner came as a result of about 5 or 6 in a row, and I thought the delivery from McGinn for the goal obviously was brilliant, but ahead of that as well, we're actually delivering balls with a little bit of whip. And so I thought I was going to say that like Stewie Griffin there. For all your Family Guy fans out there. But yeah, it was what's not to like, to be honest. We turn up at Villa Park and expect to win. And not only do we turn up at Villa Park and expect to win, we actually win. If I was Villa, I'd put the season ticket prices up on the back of this already.
We'll talk about that another time. If we're saying let's have a half an hour limit, we can't talk about season tickets tonight. We'll do it another time. It's just I was obviously working tonight. I watched it from home, so I was doing a couple of notes as I went through. I like the kind of I love a narrative. The parallels between this game and the away game, Steven Gerrard's last game, the podcast that we do on the night, kind of waiting, going, let's just keep going because he might be sacked at some point, and then it happens. I've just Googled the result there while you were talking, and the first picture that comes up is McGinn walking off with his head in his hands. Kind of the transformation he's had since then as well. It's probably been man of the match tonight, or one of the contenders at least, and his game has risen dramatically under Emery as well. Douglas Luiz getting sent off that night, and I think he got man of the match by BT tonight. I don't think I fully agree with that, but still, I was like, well, he's sent off in that game, man of the match in this. Tyrone Mings scored an own goal in that game. He scores the winner tonight. Like, some nice parallels between the two games to go, that was this season that we were humiliated at Craven Cottage, and Steven Gerrard walks off, head in his hands, hand in his pockets, and gets sacked. Emery goes, 20 minutes against these for the first half, we'll beat them, and then take our foot off the gas for the rest of the game. No, that won't be the way they do it internally, to go, let's just take it easy. But that's the way it looks from the outside looking in, that we can do enough in the first half to beat Fulham, wipe our hands of it, and go again on Sunday now against Man United.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm harking back to that night again then, when we stayed up late because we just sensed that something could happen in terms of Gerrard getting sacked. If you'd have said to me, or I'd have said to you, don't worry about this. It'll all be, our saviour from Spain will arrive. Whether he arrives in a Lamborghini and Christian Perslow gets him, we don't know. But he'll arrive, and not only can we forget any worries about relegation, but we're going to have the best season that we've had since O'Neill. Probably even eclipse that. I mean, where are we points tally-wise now?
We're on 54 now. So just as we were starting, somebody retweeted a tweet that was I don't know, a few weeks ago, maybe, of like a supercomputer predicts the end of the season. It got Villa in 7th on 54 points, which is obviously how many points we've got now with 5 games left to go. So we're eclipsing even the supercomputers were predicting Villa to maybe finish in the top 8 with mid-50s. We're even going to do better than the AI predicted us to do, if that makes sense. Like Football Manager couldn't even predict how well Emery was going to do. So 54 points at the moment, 5 to play.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean. If you'd have suggested anything like that back on the day that saw Steven Gerrard fall over the edge, it's not. I don't think even Tom Hanks would have accepted that script, mate. To be honest, it's just so unrealistic, and he's done Forrest Gump. You know what I mean? It's remarkable, and even like tonight wasn't a thriller minute, but even during the night, tonight was probably a lull. Saturday was probably a lull, but we've still kept this remarkable momentum going. I'm just looking. I'm just trying to look back through the last time we finished 6th under O'Neill. How many points?
Did I have 61 or something like that? 62 off the top of my head.
64 points we finished with.
So another 10 points from 5. I mean, I saw a stat earlier that Emery's on now 2.1 points a game as an average. So 5 games left on that average, we'll get another 10 points.
Yeah,
at least. So that puts us on 64.
You know what's ridiculous about it as well, that we're saying this and we kind of secretly believe that it's possible. You know, that's amazing, isn't it? To think that we can get 10 points out of the remaining 15, and we're not being fanciful. We think and the teams that we played against along the way, and we still think we're capable of it. And we might not. You know, we might fall short, but this season can't be seen as falling short, can it? It can just be seen as, you know, we've said it before, Dan, haven't we? We've said it. I think it was during the swirling of relegation for a couple of seasons. It was, we want our Villa back. We want our Villa back. We got it back now, and we got it back, and then some, haven't we? Really. So yeah, it's probably. I don't know. I'm running out of new things to say, because the match tonight, it wasn't particularly that action packed. To me, it's the wider context of how this transformation has happened and how far we can take it, not only this season but beyond. Really,
me and John did an episode yesterday where we predicted the end of the season for the teams involved in the run-in, and we were saying for Villa, you need probably 4 wins out of the remaining 6 to stand a chance of qualifying for Europe, whether that's Conference League or Europa League. We were saying if we don't beat Fulham tomorrow, as obviously we're recording it yesterday, this podcast instantly dies straight away, because tomorrow is at least the one you kind of go as there's no games, a banker, but out of the 6, Fulham was the easiest game left, being the home tie. Wolves is the second easiest in terms of league position, but we don't have a great record at Molineux, and I've just seen something. I think they've won 6 out of 8 at Molineux under Lopetegui, so that's not going to be easy either. But I'm not scared of anybody in that run-in. Whoever we play, you think we score in every game. We've got our style of play. We know what we're doing. Everyone's got their own role. The only thing that would concern me slightly towards the back end of the run-in is if we're playing these same 11 players every single week, we're 1 injury away from it all kind of blowing up in our faces. That would concern me a little bit, but until that happens, and touch wood, it doesn't, let's just keep going and keep riding the wave, because I feel like we can beat anybody. We're not going to win the next 5, but you kind of go, we might, and that's a weird, great position to be in.
Yeah, and even listen, I'm not saying that the man's a magician, but even you say 1 injury away, we thought that injury was Kamara.
Yeah,
we've lost Matty Cash.
We are in the bare bones now, though.
No, I know. There's not a great deal, you know, if you scratch beneath the surface, but I think one of the key things tonight, and you touched on the atmosphere earlier, is that I think obviously the players have learned the Emery way very quickly. And it was interesting that Fulham didn't really press that high. They gave Martinez and Mings and Konsa a little bit of time to put. There's one occasion where I think Dan James in the second half, it must have been the first half actually, did press, and then bang, Villa just opened them up straight away. A couple of quick passes and away they go again. And I think the players are obviously used to it, but I think the fans are getting more and more conditioned to it now. So I think there's a crossing opportunity for, I think it might have even been McGinn, and he just hesitated slightly, cut back inside again, played a ball back to whoever was inside him, and eventually that ball went back to Martinez, and Villa started again. Now, even as recently as a month ago, that would have brought groans. But we can see it now. We can see, okay, that wasn't perfect opportunity for him to deliver the ball. So Villa manoeuvred the ball. Okay, they went the scenic route round, but they maintained possession. And I think it is a case of us being educated. And obviously, the more things are proven to be correct and the right way of doing it, that's a pretty good way of winning people over. But I got the sense of that a little bit more tonight.
I want to talk about Steve McManaman in a minute. You obviously won't have listened to him because you were at the stadium, but we love a moan about a co-commentator on this show. But I've had a couple of tweets. I think it's John who said about the atmosphere recently, and is a big fan of the show because I've seen he's kind of catched up on all our recent episodes. I'm sure it's a John. And he was saying that like atmosphere doesn't necessarily have to be singing and dancing and clapping and shouting and screaming. Sometimes it can be understanding and patience and not kind of, not that you're going to distract the players from what they're doing by being rowdy, but knowing and understanding what's going on, not being groany and moany is atmosphere in a way, if you know what I mean. It's contributing to the overall kind of mood of the day. Don't get involved in the silly kind of moans and groans when it goes backwards, because you've got to understand, if you've watched Villa recently, this is what we do. And eventually it will lead to something where, in a blink of an eye, we're at the other end of the pitch scoring a goal. That's the whole point.
Yeah, it's about trying to get those perfect laboratory conditions to incubate what Emery's trying to do, basically. Because sometimes you're right, support can be just be patient, and other times support can be right, make a hell of a racket here because we really need to kind of force the issue. And it's an education, but so far I think I said a moment ago, didn't know, having our Villa back, I think we're all invested in it. I think the players have clearly bought into it, and a special word for Mings today. I know he got the goal, but I think it might be based on the evidence of one match, but I think he's becoming a better ball-playing centre-half than people give him credit for. And some of the ways I thought he was better in terms of feeding Alex Moreno tonight, and just using the outside of his left boot to kind of find spaces, between the lines to send him down the left flank. And he's not afraid. We've been brought up on Tyrone Mings punting long balls to a striker who may or may not challenge for them and win them over the last 4 or 5 years. But he can play. He genuinely can play. And Conter alongside him, I don't think they gave too much away today. But a lot of what Emery's asking the team to do, starts with those two. And I'm seeing extra confidence on the ball from them both.
Sam Martinez as well. You could say that maybe the one thing that was lacking in his game, to kind of say that it's the world's best goalkeeper has got something lacking, is from us. Again, makes it sound stupid, but being comfortable with his feet was probably the weakest point of his game, and something that you didn't really want to rely on too much. The improvements he's made since Emery's been here has probably gone under the radar a little bit as well. Do you think? He's always been good at like coming out and clearing the danger and like winning a header on the edge of his area or something. But like that composure, I suppose, maybe more so is the point.
Yeah, I just think it plays. He must love this because he likes to wind up opposition up. So if he's been encouraged to hang on to the ball as often as possible and to tempt somebody into, you know, can you imagine him? What's he like, piggy in the middle or something like that? And you can imagine him kind of, taunting opposition players like that. But this is a really random thing to say, but on Saturday, don't ask me why or how, but I found myself in the away end at Trafford FC in the outskirts of Manchester.
Why?
I'll tell you in a minute. But basically, so we were in the Runcorn. We're amongst the Runcorn fans, and the Runcorn fans have got this chant that when they've got possession, you've probably heard it elsewhere or non-league. When they've got possession, they sing, "We've got the ball, we've got the ball." And when they lose possession, "We've lost the ball, we've got the ball, we've got the ball." I thought it'd be great to bring it back to Villa, but the way that we're playing with possession at the moment, we'd only have one version of it, wouldn't it? Why was I there? Oh, I went on a lads' football weekend in Manchester, and probably picked the wrong weekend. I probably should have gone up this weekend when Villa are actually there. But yeah, so the mighty Runcorn Linnets won their playoff game today. So
well in.
We'll keep an eye out for them.
What were we saying? I don't know, really. I don't know. I just feel like it's not. I don't know where I'm going with this. It's a shame this is live because none of this should really be in it. there's not really much to say about Aston Villa versus Fulham. Is my kind of feeling from tonight, because it's not that it's irrelevant, but just, it felt. John texted me actually at half time saying that this feels like a testimonial, and I was like, yeah, it's probably Ashley Young's. He's old enough for it.
Yeah.
It had that kind of vibe to it, that just Villa were in control in the first half. And I thought, my initial thought was this will be 2 or 3-0 by full time. I didn't expect it to still be 1-0 because the second half was different. But again, like I said earlier, that to me just felt like, well, we don't really have to do any more than that. We can take our foot off the gas a bit. We're playing a lot of games. There's 5 big games coming up. We're playing the same starting 11 pretty much because there's nobody else. So we have to. Nobody get injured. Nobody do anything silly. Don't get yourself sent off. Don't get caught up in it. Fulham aren't offering anything really. Let's just go through the motions and see the game out. I think some fans will see that as being, why weren't we ruthless? Why couldn't we go and score the second and third and kill the game off? But I just don't think we have to. And we've seen enough evidence under Emery so far to just go, well, what we're doing is working. So if they feel like 1-0 against Fulham is enough, yes, obviously you always want more goals, but you know what I mean? I just felt like it was comfortable and it was job done, and there's no point kind of going into it too much.
Yeah, it's quite a skill to have. Like I said, if you've got
professional.
Yeah, if you can win games where, I mean, I don't know, don't big people out. I thought Watkins was a little bit quiet today. You know, I thought, like I said, I thought McGinn did well, Mings did well. Ramsey in flashes and in bits. So if we're saying that we've won a game, won another game, and I think with the exception of Man City, we are the form team. We remain the form team of the division, and we can do that. And our squad is so tight, and they've had to go through learn a new philosophy, and the fans have had to learn a new philosophy, and the games are coming thick and fast, and we're carrying a couple of key injuries. You know, let's not forget the players that we signed last summer, Kamara and Carlos, not involved.
Yeah,
Carlos not all season hardly, and so what a wonderful place to be. Where our worst complaint tonight is that we thought we should have won 2-0 rather than 1.
We gave the rest of the league a 3-month head start. Someone in the comments just put there, and we're still 5th.
Yeah,
I mean, the job that Emery's done is incredible, and we've talked about it. You could rewind back to any of the podcasts over the last few weeks, and we're saying the same things, which is why when we're doing these live, I feel like I'm tripping myself up a bit because I kind of don't want to repeat myself, but nothing's changing because we keep doing the same things and we keep picking up results. And if we get something against Man United on Sunday, we'll come on and go, well, Villa are just doing everything right and they've got this style of play. And it's just, this is what Villa is now. This is the norm. This isn't a blip of 3 or 4 games. This is what we're going to be for the foreseeable future. So we probably need to work on our vocabulary of how we describe games, because we can't just keep saying, Emery's good, isn't he? Because it's deeper than that.
Well, yeah, and I think it's beyond that. These players are good, aren't they?
Yeah.
These players are good at putting into practice Emery's plans, aren't they? You know, this is a massive, massive generalisation, but I reckon a lot of that squad, or certainly the starting 11, I don't know about doubled in value, but they would have certainly had a massive increase in value over the last 6 or 7 months, because, you know, McGinn was the question marks. Can he do it in the Premier League? And now he's the all-action John McGinn, who we all know and love. And, you know, Mings was being written off, but people can see that not only can he defend, but he can play. We signed Moreno for, what was it in the end? 13, 14 million quid?
I think.
It's got to be worth twice that. So, you know, it's like I say, you just run out. I mean, it's uncharted territory, this, Dan.
Yeah.
Podcast didn't really exist when Villa used to be good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah. And we've not seen anything like this. You know,
I know.
But I mean, I say we.
I paid to go on 5 Live and talk sport. I don't get paid to come on here.
When I say we, I meant like people of my age. Of like O'Neill was the time that we were anywhere near this level of the Premier League, and like the start I said at the start, the first time we've won 5 home league games in a row since 1993. How many people watching this weren't even born then? Like the fact that we've not won 5 games in a row at home since then, that's a crazy stat in itself.
But I think we're exerting more control over games than we were under O'Neill.
Yeah, 100%.
During the O'Neill era, with, I wouldn't say with lesser players, but these players are less established and earlier in their journeys than the players there. That's a remarkable turnaround.
Yeah, a lot of that was about counter-attack, wasn't it? And hitting teams on the break with pace from Young and Gabby, and there were some great technical players in there as well. But the style of play was totally different. Somebody actually suggested, like, we're doing these podcasts where we kind of take a generic story or kind of something that isn't match related. Somebody messaged me saying, like, you should do like comparisons between like a combined 11 of the O'Neill side and the Emery side, and like, face the players off against each other, and like which side was better, the team that won the cup in '96 or the team that did whatever in whatever year.
But so actually, he has to defend against himself.
Yeah, possibly. He gets into both sides, doesn't he? Yeah, on that. Just on the style over substance thing, very quickly, I tweeted during the game, actually, I was going to say, we'll talk about Steve McManaman as well, but it's off the same tweet. I put Steve McManaman was doing my head in, and Wayne replied to me and said, and by the way, I respect anyone's opinions who are different, and me and Wayne had a chat, so I think we're amicable about it. He said, players are doing mine in pathetic effort. And I put, us, nah, you've just got to get out. You've only got to get out of first gear because Fulham are so poor. We've not been the best, but we haven't had to be. And he said, well, that's a positive spin. There's no quality shown at all. I said, we're winning and we're fifth. I don't really care. That might be an unpopular opinion. I don't care. Do you care? Oh, we've talked about this before, so I know you don't. You've been to Villa Park tonight expecting to win. We've won. We've won 5 home games in a row, 5 home clean sheets in a row. We've lost 4 games under Emery out of 20. We're unbeaten in 10. Ollie Watkins hasn't scored in the last couple, but has been scoring for fun. We're now 5th in the league. I don't really care how we could, if we win all the other games if we win the next 5 games in the Premier League exactly like we did tonight, are we going to be complaining about that because it didn't show quality? Just win.
My biggest headache tonight was trying to get the wrapper off of Werther's original, and if that's your biggest challenge,
Christ, that's old, isn't it?
Things are going right. Honestly, I made a right mess of it. It's like, you've ever seen Arsene Wenger trying to do up a zip?
Yeah, it's like that.
It was like that, right? I couldn't find it. I nearly hit it with a wrapper on in the end, but yeah, old man's problems. That is. What did McManaman say then? Was he just generally annoying?
It's just general annoyances. Annoyances. Just like the commentary as a whole. I put again. I got a little bit of my notes, but a couple of things. Obsessed with us going backwards, so they clearly haven't watched us. It's kind of repeated emphasis that Emery has long meetings, and then the Ollie Watkins fish tank story. And it's just like, I wasn't there tonight, so I was watching on TV, and it's nice being on telly when you're not there because you still get to see it properly and whatnot. But like, when we've talked about going under the radar and like the national media and the broadcasters not giving us credit, it's just like the same old tropes come out every time. It's like, oh, Dean Smith signed Ollie Watkins from Brighton, and did you know he's got him a fish tank when he signed? It's like, Christ, how many times have we got to hear that from Sky Sports or BT? McManaman moaning about us playing around the back. So he's clearly not watched us under Emery then, basically. There was a point when Ashley Young was like on the halfway line, and he was like, God, I hope he doesn't pass it backwards here. And he did go long, and I think it went to the keeper or out for a goal kick. And he went, Christ, I wish he had just played it backwards there. It's like this obsession about, they've got to go longer, they've got to get it into feet, they've got to get Watkins involved more. And that, as a point, yes, Watkins did need to be involved more. But the reason we play around the back is, well, we all know, but just got this kind of overgeneralization of, they're just dilly-dallying around at the back. It's like, you clear the wider people than the pundits, they've clearly not watched Villa enough to know that that's what we are.
Yeah,
that's a little bit frustrating when you're watching it on TV.
If they're digging out the old fish tank story and stuff like that, they've probably just been given a fact sheet with about.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And it's like, did you know Unai Emery has these long video meetings, these long video analysis meetings? Some players fall asleep in them. It's like, oh God, let's think of something new.
I'll tell you what you should do. You should do a graphic for commentator bingo for the next
time. That's what it feels like, yeah.
Next time we're on the telly, do a commentator bingo grid.
Yeah.
But in terms of listen, I can get it from the commentator's point of view because they're not bothered about Aston Villa winning that game and climbing the league. They're there for the entertainment of themselves and for the viewing public. I don't care whether we wow everybody who's coming to watch us. If we beat all opponents in front of us, it doesn't matter. So, mute button, mate. Get the mute button.
Yeah, somebody in the comments there just says, and this will be the last point, he said, disagree with the just win sentiment. That hides problems that bite us later. Yes, we have to win, but not at the sake of playing poorly and relying on dumb luck. If that was Steven Gerrard still as manager, I would fully agree and say, yes, we are just relying on a moment here and there in a game and playing poorly, but kind of a smash and grab kind of game. Playing poorly in today, I feel, is what I've said throughout, that we just didn't have to play any better than we did. It's not that we were were poor because you said 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. We just didn't have to do any more to beat Fulham. I think if we were playing a better opponent and Fulham did score, we'd suddenly go, right, okay, we need to kind of kick ourselves up the backside and go again kind of thing. So, yeah, for me, just keep winning. I don't think it is a case of playing poorly. We're going to have the odd game in a 10-match unbeaten streak where we don't blow somebody away. But as long as we're still picking up points and ticking along, that's fine by me. Because we've got 5 games left and we will play well in 3 or 4 of those games.
Yeah, well, we had a 10-game winning streak that got us into the Premier League in the first place. Now, I don't remember it being swaggering every single week.
Some of it was, but not always.
Some good performances in there, but there was also some ones where we just had to do a professional job. Listen, I think it's harsh if we pick holes in that Aston Villa performance tonight, knowing that these players are having to do the same. We are 5th and really kind of in a place where we can shake things up with clubs all around us who have much deeper squads, many who have much greater experience of being in the top echelons of the Premier League. So if sometimes there's going to be some little wrinkles in the plan and we're not blowing teams away, then so be it. Matter. Look at the table.
Josie says that was Arsenal tonight in the same game. BT or Sky call it a title-winning performance to control the game from the back. Yeah, it's exactly that. The narrative is different when it's a flashier club, isn't it? Just keep doing what we're doing under the radar. It's absolutely fine by me. Like we said, we're 5th. We've picked up so many points under Emery. It's almost ridiculous. 5 games left. We are kind of getting ahead of ourselves. Where we're going to finish, how many points are we going to get? But it is one game at a time. And you go to Man United on Sunday and yes, we've not got a great record there despite winning there last season. Was that last season, the Courtney Hawes one? Feels like a lifetime ago. It was last season, yeah. But you still think, it's Man United, what are they going to be like? But you're then the kind of new, I suppose that's like the old Aston Villa fan mentality in me now to go, it's Man United. They'll always get something. They'll always get a penalty or whatever. The new side of me thinks, but we've got Unai Emery now. We're Aston Villa that score in every game. We'll go to Man United and give them a game. And if we beat them, I think we'll be 3 points behind them, and you suddenly go, "Oh my God, are we on the charge for the Champions League?" Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's madness to be even having these conversations at this point in the season. So, yeah, have you got the unicycle ready?
Don't, mate, because every time we win another game, my stomach tightens because I think I'm gonna crush my testicles on it, mate. That's honestly, I don't mind banging my head or. When I practice, and let's face it, we're going to make Europe, I think. Yeah. So when I have to practice this, because you'll make me practice it, you'll probably make me wear a GoPro and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'll have a helmet. I'll have me little kind of skateboard pads on my arms and my knees. But it's my crown jewels, mate, really, that I'm not as much use for them anymore, but I still value them, really. So
too much information.
I'm going to have to get over that mental block. Anyway,
yeah. Should we talk about season ticket prices? No, it's no time. We'll do it another time. Matt, thanks for joining me. We said keep it half an hour, so I am going to try and do that. Thanks everyone for watching late on a Tuesday night. We appreciate you tuning in as always. Almost 700 people watching at 11:30 on a Tuesday. That's madness. If you're catching up with this, get involved in the comment section with the debates, leave iTunes reviews, all those things as usual. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. We've had a massive influx of new people watching at the moment, so thank you for that. If you're still watching at this point after the last couple of minutes, fair play to you. We're doing a little filming session tomorrow, not with any ex-players or anything, but kind of some end of season best players ever and the best transfers ever and those kind of things. So we've got a busy day tomorrow. We'll do some kind of fresh content coming up over the next few days as well. It's Man United on Sunday. Hopefully another big 3 points for Aston Villa. Matt, thanks for joining me. I feel like I should have said something else there, but I fell over myself. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We appreciate it. As always, we'll see you again tomorrow for another video of some description, and then we'll be back for Man United at the weekend. Cheers, everyone.
Villa.
Thank you for listening to Claret and Blue and Aston Villa podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please do let us know. We love hearing your thoughts and comments. We'll be back soon with another episode, but until then, up the Villa.